I like your shirt. It seems very, very festive.
Thanks. Cheers.
Well, this is such an interesting film because it feels like this big concept story told in such a personal way. When you read the script, what did you make of the world that it creates? Was it something that you could visually see from the beginning? Did you have a lot of questions?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a kind of high concept film, isn't it? And but yet also, I felt this kind of felt like a real rare gem of a film. This and the questions, I was intrigued that this was a first time writer, first time feature director who I wanted to meet, and talking with Edson and hearing about his own personal story, and what drew him to write this, really, on all these bases, I wanted to tell this story with him. I flew out to Utah, and with 24 days, with a really committed ensemble and crew, we told this story. Yeah,
I had so many questions about the details in this, from why is it 9 days? Why are they watching on these vintage TVs? What's with the VHS tapes? They're all hanging out in this modest house in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. Did you get answers to those questions? Even if we don't learn them from watching the film, did you learn what those answers were?
I think I've heard Edson mention that about the kind of the 80s analog thing was a world that was from Winston, what Winston knew during his time on Earth, and then therefore that's what was around in his house, I figure. But to me, that's someone that's never been alive, doesn't really see the kind of memorabilia of that, but all I'm concerned about, because he's such a romantic about life, he's just vicariously looking into these screens and living the lives of others, cherishing other moments.
It seems like a really rare opportunity to play a character like this who has never lived before. So yeah. Where do you start with that? How did you form and shape who he was and how you wanted to play him?
Well, it started off with a lot of isolation, really. I mean, when I got there, I kind of just kept myself to myself in a room and didn't really see anybody, at all. And then like Keo, he just has an appetite for life. Really, he needs to feel company. He needs to know everyone's business, and I think that's one of my sort of springboards. He's the hope character. He's the optimistic. He's also the devil's advocate as well, and he's calling Will out on that. But he's, for someone that hasn't lived, for someone that hasn't had anything like that experience, would only want it more. And then therefore you see him cosplay, you see him kind of dress himself for the concerto or stand at weddings. There's a kind of, he's the oldest character, but also the most innocent at the same time. So there's lots of sort of juxtapositions with Keo.
Yeah, it seems like you'd almost have to catch yourself not letting your own life experiences influence him, because he doesn't really know what that means.
Yeah. But he's kind of, he's seen so much before, but yeah, he's creating these experiences in his own world, wherever we are in this ether plane,
Do you think he's someone that wanted to live? Does he still want to have the chance to live? Is it something he doesn't even think about or care about anymore?
Oh yeah, he yearns to live. Yeah, he yearns to live. He's practicing all the time. He's the life yet not lived. It's kind of the fulfilled life yet not lived, and he's ready to go. And I mean, and to some degree, that's it's really interesting to watch, and I think it kind of, as audience members as well, people start to see about what cherished moments are, and that reflects back to us as audience members, really. When we were at Sundance, there were kind of incidents of there was an Asian family that were crying, and the mother was saying, I have to go. I have to go and call my son and tell him I love him. And it's like, wow, it was quite sent chills, really, because it was like the story of the film was running off and permeating into audience members.
When you work on a project with someone from the MCU like Winston Duke on something that's outside of that Marvel world like this film is there a special connection there? Do you all sort of feel like you're part of one big family, whether you've shared much time in the Marvel universe or not?
Yeah, I met Winston at the premiere of Doctor Strange, and he came over and said, "Hey, you don't know me? I'm Winston Duke. I'm doing this thing, a part in Black Panther," and I didn't know what Black Panther was, and then further down the line, I did know what Black Panther was, and I did know who Winston Duke was, and then we were running around in Infinity War, or was it Endgame, and during the big charge, always constantly having a laugh with him. And then just to finally getting a chance to be working with him was great. And it was a different experience, definitely, because, he had to certainly go to a different space, really, It was, if not, it was just, it was emanating a heaviness, rightly so, but it was like, the crew were just kind of heavily, even the crew were feeling depressed. And as soon as they saw me, they saw this levity beacon, and it was like, come over here. But everyone had their role to play, and yeah, he's fantastic.
It took a bit longer for Doctor Strange 2 to get into production than folks originally expected, but it sounds like it's going to be well worth the wait. So without spoilers, what was your reaction to reading the script and learning about what's in store? Should we, already be getting excited about it?
You should be getting excited. What can I say? Not a lot. I can't say anything, can I, these days?
Well, just the feeling you had from reading the script.
It's a cracking script, and then now to having Sam Raimi involved has been it's been a really wonderful experience. He's such a fantastic director, a lovely man. We're kind of, where are we now? We're near. He's just such fun to work with, and we always have I like throwing alts, and he likes them. So it's kind of, we kind of just have a bit of a laugh with this. I mean, like, I just throw anything at the wall, and sometimes it'll fall down, and then sometimes it'll stick, and then but that's it. Just constantly keep. That's amazing, isn't it? It's the creative process, and if you're not, as long as you're not afraid to throw something at the wall, it might be right, might be wrong, but yet we're all just trying to kind of, make something here. But we're having a lot of fun on that, and then finishing that off in September. So we're nearly there.
You're also in Shang-Chi, which a lot of people, including myself, are excited about. What does it mean to you to be a part of the first Marvel movie with an Asian cast and Asian superheroes?
Yeah. The first leading Asian superhero in Simu. it's just it's the Asians assemble. It's the kind of to have Tony Leung and Awkwafina, Ronnie Chang, who else is there? Menga, Fallon Chen. It feels very, very exciting. I've seen that trailer many, many times. And it was. I'm very excited about it.
I love filmmakers. I love all the filmmakers you're working with. Sam Raimi is a personal favorite of mine, but I think the work that Edson does with this film is just so beautiful. What was that collaboration like with him throughout the film? I mean, did you guys communicate a lot, or was it rehearsals ahead of time and then he just sort of, stepped back when you were on set together? How did that experience work with him as a first-time filmmaker?
Very collaborative, always there for a Zoom, always there for a chat, or just to give you great clarity of where you want to go with your character, and deeper discussions. And then even being on set, he's such a calming influence, great leader, a real phenomenal talent. You just don't. It's just I keep saying about this first time feature director, but he's already quite lived in now already, and what he can say visually and communicate is really stunning. Just where like I think the first 10 minutes is there's no words, and there's just action that speak louder. And as he draws you into the world, and it's just we're there to get audiences thinking and asking questions, and there is an ambiguity to it, and high praise for him, real talent.
Did you think about what happens to Keo after we last see him in the film? Do you think that will have changed in any way, or things will be different in any way for these people?
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, who knows? Yeah, well, you've kind of, it's kind of ambiguous, isn't it? What happens to him after he, I guess, awakens, really. I don't know.
Yeah, I just thought that was so interesting. I mean, obviously there's that turning point moment for Will that it just made me wonder, like, what is Keo going to do now that has happened? So
yeah. We'll have to wait for 10 days.
Yeah. Well, awesome. I appreciate you talking to me about this. I just thought the subject matter was so beautifully handled. It seems like it could have gone wrong in so many different ways with another filmmaker. So
yeah,
it was just fascinating to watch.
Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you for watching the movie. I mean, all we want is people to kind of go in there with, hey, no expectations, and just kind of sit back and be a captive audience, and just allow this concept, these questions there, and to see what happens and how that reflects to you as an audience member,
Well, and thank you for bringing the fun to it, because it might have gotten a little dark and depressing otherwise. At least you brought some fun with it.
Thanks. Cheers. Thank you.
Thanks.